Good morning. Welcome to RayGProduction.com. People, friends, subscribers, please share. So I'm just going to do like a quick mixing rundown from some friends and stuff like that. So this is my mix. I'll show you the intro part. We'll start at the intro part. Alright, so ain't nothing peaking, and I didn't even hit my my mixer master fader at 0 here. So this is my bass line, my 808. And what I did, and I did this morning, just this part right here. This is my saturation knob. So I wanted to keep the lows because I felt like I was missing some low end. So I threw the soft tube, which comes with Studio One for free. You just download it. It comes in the package, and you know, I put it up, and then I had to blend it in with my plug in here, so that I have a compressor on here, which I have a fairly low ratio and input. So ratio would be how much, so if I have a 2:4 ratio on here, so that would be 2 in, 4, it's 2 to 4, 2 in, 4 out. Attack is super low, and my release time is low for this one here. And then I have an EQ. So because this is my bass, I wanted to keep the low end here at 25 Hertz and boost a little bit at 90, just a little bit, and then I took all the rest of that out of there. I scooped it out. So if you see that when it's playing, you should have a graphical representation. You see, I got all that out of there. My bass kick, I didn't put anything on because it was pretty clean, because in here it's just a really clean kick, so you really didn't need anything on there. I mean, it speaks for itself. If you listen to that kick, it's very, very clean. I could throw an EQ on here just to show you. So I'll use the stock EQ. So you go to Presonus folder in Effects, and then you will go to Pro EQ. You'll drag that on there. Make sure your third octave here is playing so you can see your EQ. And me personally, this drum kit right here, this is an EQ sweep. See how it sounds crappy there? I would take that out of there. This is called boosting. This right here is called boosting, and usually I really don't like boosting because boosting will raise it over 0 dB here. So I won't actually boost because there's really no reason to boost. This is subtractive EQ. So EQ sweep, you go up, sweep your EQ, listen for the bad frequencies, and then cut them down. See? And now this one here, I want to drag this all the way. So I can go to my low cut, LC, low cut, low frequencies. I want to bring this to 90. Because I have my bass kick over here, which I'll pin this. I have all the low end in here in my other kick. I did a little boost here. It's at 91, which I'm probably going to drop it out of there. Probably going to take that out because I want my kick to come through. So let's see what that did. We'll start a little bit ahead. And one thing I also have, because I enjoy doing it, is my bus for my kicks. I like compressing, I like sending my kicks and my bass lines to separate bus channels and compressing the piss out of them over there. This is my bus for my kick, which I go to sends right here, sends, and then I send it to a separate bus in a parallel chain, so they're both playing at the same time. And I have what's saying on my separate compressor, which the ratio on this one is a very low ratio, which for your compressor you can have high or low. It's to taste, okay? I have a low attack and a low release, which that really should be a very high release. It should be. Let's try a high compression too. That sounds better. I could throw a little makeup on there too. Makeup is like gain, so I'm like turning the volume up at the end. Let's see if that made a little punch more in the mix. So we could go in here and let's see what I can find out. So this piano right here, possibly similar to what you would do with like a guitar, because the piano has your lows and your highs. It spreads across the whole frequency. So this piano, what do I have on here? I have some crazy effects. So what I did, this is an EQ. This is like a British style EQ. Actually, but I have an American setting. So I brought my frequencies up to the mid-range at 279 hertz, and then I cut it down. So I cut all them low frequencies out of there. Okay? And then I left the rest pretty much, because this is a piano and I wanted to hear it. So let's take a look at that piano not in context, because you've probably heard it out of context. So now let's take off all my extra effects. We'll bypass that EQ. You hear them little low frequencies in there. It makes it more present when you cut them lows out of there. And with reverb, so say you want to put some reverb on your on like vocals. See, I got this vocal here with some reverb on it. Usually some mixers, they'll take an extra channel and create a bus channel and send it to the reverb and then put an EQ on it. But I got this reverb set so low, I decided to just run it on there. Now what I did was I did no pre, I did a size to 43%, 40% dampness, and 65% width. So it's not so wide, just a little bit in the middle. That's what I did with that one. And then a couple other instruments in here. This one here, we'll solo that. I panned it all the way to my left, which would be your right. And then I pan the other one. So when you have a mix, you want to make sure that you have a balance of the left and a balance of the right. When you start mixing though, the first thing you want to do when you start mixing is you want to gain stage everything. Gain staging is very, very simple. Okay? Gain staging is just taking your mixer faders and making sure they're low. You can do multiple ways of gain staging now. You could take, like on Studio One, we have a thing called a mix channel. It's called mix channel. What the heck is it? If I can find it. Mix tool, okay? And you just drag it, set it on there, boom, you got mix tool. So if you want to leave your faders 0, you just take mix tool and you just turn it down. Now this will also help you, we can get into that later, but this will also help you with your phasing. When you have two waves that are going in opposite directions, one's going this way, one's going this way, and they're making it sound muddy. So you need to fix it. So you can use that mix tool and invert the phase so they both are going round this way in the mix. So when you got your mix done and you want to pan something this way and pan something this way, you want to have an even amount of pans. You don't want to have just one thing in your mix panned to the right, because your listener will be like, oh my gosh, you know, it'll be in one ear. So you want to make sure there's a balance of two different things going on in your ears. And the end result, you just don't want to have your master fader. You want to leave your master fader at 0. This fader, the last fader, main. You want to have your last one there staying at 0, and do the best you can to not have no effects on there. And if you were to send this mix to me, what you want to do is you want to right click and then merge events and then drag this way. See, so now that's from 1 bar to 49 bars, and then this one's already done, and then you got like hi-hats here, and you want to do the same thing, merge events. Okay, so we can do that to all of these. We'll merge them all. Okay, so you right click, merge events. Now look at this. See how each individual track is even on this side and on this side? Now you can, and your fader's at 0, we can even take a look. Let's take a look at the level of the master. -5. This is perfect to send to a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer. Everything is under 0, and your mastering fader has no effects on it. You can, this mix right here is ready to send to a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer. Now if you send it to a mixing engineer, make sure they have a proper studio, or a mastering engineer. You don't want to send it to somebody that's producing in a set of headphones and a laptop, and then they're going to send you a crappy mix, and you take it to your club to do your show, or you take it to your local bar, and then all of a sudden now you got some crazy low-end problems at the club where they can't even hear your vocals because they ripped you off. You want to make sure they have a proper studio, clouds above their head, proper monitors. Ask your mixing engineer, hey, what type of monitors do you have? Do you have good monitors? Like, can I see a picture? Like, can I have some references of your tracks and listen to their songs in very high volume, so you could find out if they will have your mix will be good at the low end. You know, low end is the biggest problem with mixes, especially in hip hop. And in rock music, it'd be the mid range. Your mid range is going to be a problem. Like, you know, you got guitars and basses and everything is fighting for that mid range. So you want to make sure that your mixer and masterer has the proper equipment. You can't just say, oh yeah, I'm a mixing engineer, or hey, oh, I'm a mastering engineer. No, you didn't have the proper equipment to do it. I understand people want to do their own mix, and you know, you'll get somewhere close to it. You know, you can try in a really good set of headphones, but you have to have a really good set of headphones. You can't just, you know, I have two different sets. I have an open back and I have closed back. Closed back will show me my low end. Open back will show me the reverb tails and the mid-range, so you can reference it. And then if you are doing your own mixes, make sure that you put a reference track in your project. So go to your files, wherever it would be, on the right side or the left side. Go through your computer. If your song sounds like something that you would sound familiar, drag it in there. Put an analyzer on your reference track, and put an analyzer on your track and their track, okay? And then match the two levels. So I'll put it on my mastering bus. I'll show you. Here's the Spectral Meter. So my peak, is at, you know, 6 dB. That's bass too. My lows are down lower. This is hip hop track. So yeah. Then I go into my computer. Let's see if I can find something in here. I don't even know what I have that would be even close to this. We'll check something out here. Maybe I got something here. Downloads. I guess I have an E with a boogie beat. I don't even know, but we'll check it out. You know, we'll put a spectral equalizer. We'll solo it, and then I'll put a spectral equalizer on it. We'll see where his mix is. Oh, this is one of my mixes. But yeah, see, I mean, I have another mix in here, and it's still going around peak. You know, 6. Yeah, that's one of my beats, so. Downloads. Here's a Meek Mill beat. Let's check out Meek Mill here. And you know, obviously these people are famous, so.
Set example for the young brothers coming up at them.
But what are you going to do now that you're free?
Now remember that fader's at 0.
Started off poor with plans to own more. Now we on stars and fuck the baddest horse. I was on tour with niggas that's so raw. Started selling white, we won't selling no more. Like Trump ain't feeling us, cops still killing us. Niggas taking shots.
So he's at minus 7 dB
act like she did in his
for his peaks. His peaks are at 7 dB. This is remember, this song right here is already mastered. You know, that's exported all the way. That went through a mixing engineer, the producer. Now remember, there's not, on these guys' tracks, there's not just one producer. There's a lot of producers. There's your manager, your producer, the artist. So they all want to add, oh, I want a little reverb, I want to take that out, I want to do this. There's a lot of people going back and forth that are arguing about what to do with that. Then they go through a mixing engineer. Now they spend $5,000 on a mixing engineer or more, depending on who they get, you know. And then the mixing engineer will mix it. He's got 20, 30 years under his belt mixing. And then that comes back to the record label. And the record label says, okay, yeah, I mean, maybe we need to take some reverb off of here, or maybe we need to add some reverb. Now, just because you guys are not famous, these people use reverb. They use reverb a lot. Not just a little bit, more than you would imagine. They just use reverb the correct way. And they have treated studios where, and good speakers where they can hear the reverb properly. you know, and reverb is super popular these days, like just abnormally popular. It used to be delay, and before that it was zero. The 90s rap, no reverb, no delay. 2000s, no reverb. The last 8 years, reverb, no, or delay. It was delay the last 8 years. They would go delay everything. It would go da 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 da. And then now the last year or two, it's just overdosing in reverb. But then you go through the record label, and then the record label says, okay, thumbs up. Then they send it to a mastering engineer, and then a mastering engineer, all he does is just touches it with his special gear. Like, mastering engineers have special gear. Certain other pieces cost is more than your studio. Just one piece. Their studios, to get into mastering, you got to have a $100,000 studio. You know, and if you're really, really, really good, and you've already had the gear for years, and you've been in it 25, 30 years, you might have 5 pieces, and them 5 pieces are $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 each, and that's it. You know, you just got a few pieces that are a few grand each, and your audio interface has 100 and, you know, at least like 110 or more dB of volume. You know, and the monitors are different. They don't use studio monitors in mastering studios. They don't use KRKs. They do not use KRKs to master music. They use high fidelity 10-inch woofers to master that stuff, going through analog gear. I mean, some of the mastering engineers to this day are using, you know, plugins, but still, I guarantee you some of the old school mastering engineers are not. They're not using plugins. They're using analog gear. And they have an interface running, you know, 10 channels. They're running individual channels to a summing box, and then that summing box is running through a compressor, and that compressor is running through an EQ, which is running through another piece of gear, and it's expensive. So I don't want to see people on Facebook going, oh, I'll master your song. No, you can't master my song in your laptop. Just because you got a MacBook for $400 and you're using FL Studio, you're not going to master my song. It's not going to happen. You can get away with a rough mix with laptop and headphones, but not a professional mix. You're not going to get a professional mix. I mean, I'm even fighting with, I have Scepters that are $1,200 monitors. Now they're cheaper, and I have a friggin' $800 interface here. My interface has got 118 dB of volume, and my speaker's got 119 decibels of volume in a treated room. And I mean, I still have to fight with low end a little bit, because these are 6-inch monitors. So I would add a sub to it. That's called a Presonus T10. I would add to this system, and then I would be able to hear a little bit more low end into the 30s. But I mean, I don't have to fight with the low end with these too much. And plus, I kind of know what I'm doing with them. But still, like, you're going to fight with low end. If you have just like a set of M Audios, 5-inch monitors, or a set of, you know, KRKs, 5-inch monitors, or HS7 5-inch monitors, you're definitely not going to be able to master or mix. You're going to be able to beat make. You can make your beats. Make your beats, go ahead. But then you still want to give the mastering guy, if somebody has a decent studio, you still want to send it to them. Because I literally listened to like hours of music yesterday, all day. Local and somewhat global, unsigned artists. And I was listening to their mix, and there was maybe 2 out of like 500 that literally had decent mixes. And I was very sad for them, because it's like, you want to make it, you want to be somebody, but you don't have a decent mix. You literally have a crap mix because you're just pushing out material, you know, or you don't want to pay. You think you're going to get rich off your one song. I guarantee those A&Rs, if you're sending music and paying to send your music to an A&R, and I guarantee it, they're listening to that mix and like, this dude is not investing in their craft. This girl's not investing in their craft. They don't care. All they want to do is they think they're going to be rich. You think you're going to be rich. I'm sorry, you're not going to get rich by just you know, crafting it in your program. I'm not going to get rich by this. You know, what you're going to do is you could make a decent living if you have quality material. You got to look at it like a job. If you have any questions, message me. I'm going to put this on a few different platforms, but I hope that cleared up some things. You know, EQs, you know, cut out of any instrument. Make sure you cut the low frequencies out of things that are not bass and drums. If you don't need the low frequencies, do not keep them in your mix. Do not keep them in there. Get rid of them. Because by the time you got to add this all together. You got track 1, track 2, track 3. If you don't cut that low end out of each of them, all that low end is going to add up to the end of your track. And it's going to be a big pile of crap at the end. And you're going to be at 1,000 over 0, trying to throw a limiter on there. And a limiter is not going to help you. It's not. You know, so you got to be careful with that. Cut all the frequencies out that you're not using. If you have a hi-hat, keep the high end. Take out the low end. You got a bass kick. Take out the high end. Take out where you want. Scoop it out. Subtract it. This will clean your mixes up and make it better. And then at the end, you can use a mastering preset. If you can't afford a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer, you can use a nice preset in your program. If you have FL Studio, or if you have Ableton, or if you have Studio One, there's a preset in that thing that'll say nice mix or nice master. And you could throw it on there if you're just going to share it with your friends, or maybe put it on Spotify. Throw a nice preset on it. And if you don't really know how to use the EQ to start, you know, in Studio One we got a little drop down menu: drums, guitar, instruments, mastering, mixing. You start there. You start there and then you tweak it. You pick your preset. We'll go over here. Look at drop down menu, drums. So what am I going to do? Oh, this is a bass drum. Oh wow, look at that. There's a gate on here. Huh, how does that sound? Let's listen to the gate. Oh wow, that gate's pretty nice. He's got this compression right here to 2 to 0, minus 15. It's hidden right here. Okay, so it's doing some work. He's got a pretty high attack and a pretty high release. I wonder what that sounds like in the mix. That's just a preset. Let's see what it sounds like in the mix. I actually like that preset. That preset's nice. And I still have headroom left. If you look, my peak was still at minus 3. Minus 3 is okay. Don't touch your fader though. Make sure you do everything else first before you touch that fader. That's Ray G Productions. Them are my tips for today. Please share if you like it. Like it. You guys have a great day.